Welcome back to the deep dive. Today we're taking a completely different path. We are looking at a history that you will not find in any textbook.
That's putting it mildly.
We're diving into a set of sources that outline galactic wars, genetic engineering, and really the creation of humanity, all from the perspective of someone who claims to have been there.
Right, and that's the key. This is the Pleaidian or Nibiruan narrative. It's a history of Earth told by Anu, the former ruler of Nibiru.
So let's start right there. Who is this narrator, Anu?
Well, according to the material, he's the former commander of what he calls a Pleaidian war star, which we know as Nibiru.
A war star, not just a planet.
Exactly. And he traces his own lineage, his royal bloodline, back to what are called the Lyran royal Soyu of Avion. This is supposedly where the first human prototypes were ever developed.
So he's positioning himself as, essentially, the patriarch of the entire human genetic line.
That's the claim. And he gives a very specific description of what his people, the Pleaidians, look like.
Which is pretty startling.
Oh, absolutely. They're described as being incredibly tall, around 3 meters. That's nearly 10 feet.
Wow.
With platinum gold hair, very striking blue eyes, and, get this, a literal golden aura, a glow.
A golden aura. Why?
The sources say it's the result of their genetic integration way back with an even older race, the felines, the lion people.
Okay, so we are dealing with a very ancient, very powerful lineage. Now, tell me more about this home base, Nibiru.
Right, so it's not a planet in the way we think of one. Annie calls it a war star. It's massive, about 4 times the size of Earth.
And it wasn't a natural formation.
No, it was engineered, designed by the Galactic Federation for peacekeeping missions across the galaxy. It has that, that famous 3,661-year elliptical orbit.
Which seems to be the cause of a lot of trouble in these stories.
It is. And the wildest detail is that the Nibiruans live inside the planet, in its core.
Living inside a giant mobile warship. That really sets the stage for the cosmic conflict we're about to get into.
It does, but to understand the why of the conflict, you have to understand the theology behind it all.
The spiritual framework.
Exactly. The core premise is that the absolute creator, this perfect source, fragmented itself into what are called first source spirits.
And those spirits are us.
They're us. We are, in this narrative, incarnated gods here to experience creation in all its forms, especially its duality.
Which is where we get the great game of polarity integration.
That's it. It's a game set up with 2 opposing sides, light versus dark. The whole point of millennia of war and creation is for all the players to integrate both sides and learn unconditional love.
The 13th dimensional compassion formula.
That's the end goal. So the whole galaxy is just a stage for this one enormous spiritual lesson.
And for a game like that, you need players, 2 foundational races.
Right. On one side representing light, or the feminine principle, you have humans. They were modeled on the feline appearance.
And on the other side,
the necessary counterpoint. The reptilians, modeled on a race called the Corians, representing the dark, or masculine principle.
And the sources are clear that these are just roles.
Just roles. They're essential for the game to work. The felines, based out of Sirius A, were the master geneticists, the chief genetic engineers.
They designed all the DNA blueprint.
For almost all life in our section of the universe, yes. Plants, animals, everything. And they left something behind on Earth.
This is the part I love. The house cats.
It's a wild thought, isn't it? The claim is that common house cats, and lions too, were left here as biological transmitters, sending information back to Sirius A.
So your cat isn't just staring at you, it's filing a report.
An encrypted one, I'm sure. Meanwhile, you have the reptilians from Orion. They were created much, much earlier, so they were technologically way ahead.
And their whole worldview was different.
Completely. Their creation myth taught them they owned the galaxy, that they had the right to conquer or destroy anyone who got in their way. This naturally led to huge conflicts with the human races.
And that conflict is what leads us to the very violent birth of our own planet, to the Tiamat catastrophe.
Right. So Earth, as we know it, didn't exist. It was part of a much larger, watery planet called Tiamat,
which is already inhabited
by a massive reptoid and dinoid civilization. Tiamat had 11 moons, and our current moon, Kingu, was the biggest one.
And this reptoid civilization became a threat.
A huge threat. So much so that the Galactic Federation decided Tiamat had to be neutralized.
And they sent in their peacekeeping war star.
Exactly. About 18 million years ago, Nibiru was ordered to destroy Tiamat. And Uni describes exactly how they did it.
It wasn't a simple attack, was it?
No, it was a precise, almost surgical military operation. Nibiru came into our solar system moving backwards, which threw the outer planets into chaos. It tilted Uranus on its axis and gave Neptune its backward-spinning moon, Triton.
All just from its gravitational pull.
Yes. Then, as it got closer, it used its own moons like weapons. They were directed to collide with Tiamat.
A planetary shattering.
Total devastation. Tiamat split into two main pieces. The larger piece was moved into a new orbit and became Earth, or Gaia, or Shan.
And the smaller piece?
It was pulverized. It became the asteroid belt. And if you look, the asteroid belt orbits in the opposite direction of the other planets, a clear sign of a violent external event.
So our planet is literally a planetary ruin reformed into a new world.
That's the story. And Kingu, Tiamat's largest moon, was intentionally placed into orbit around us to become our moon.
So after all that, the Nibiruans finally land on this new Earth, around 480,000 BC. What for?
Two reasons. One was very practical. They needed to mine gold. Their radiation shield on Nibiru was failing, and gold was the only thing that could repair it.
And the second reason was spiritual.
Right. They were here to help the Pleaidians create the two-strand DNA human body. It was a required step in the divine plan for this planet.
But the operation didn't go smoothly. We have the Anunnaki rebellion.
A huge crisis. Around 250,000 BC, the Nibiruan astronauts, the Anunnaki who were doing the actual gold mining in Africa, just revolted. The conditions were terrible.
And this forced the leadership's hand.
It did. So Anu's two sons had to find a solution. You have Enlil, the legitimate heir, and Enki, the brilliant geneticist. Enki, by the way, was half reptilian himself.
And they came up with the idea for a worker race.
The Lulus, or primitive workers. Enki and the chief medical officer, Ninhursag, took the DNA of the native Homo erectus and blended it with Nibiruan DNA.
And that created a workforce. But you mentioned a bigger spiritual goal. The mining wasn't the main point.
Never the main point. The real reason for creating this simple physical body was to provide a vehicle for souls, the Earth-Syrian souls, who had been trapped in the animal reincarnation cycle for millions of years.
So it was a soul rescue mission.
A massive one that took about 200,000 years. It was about freeing those souls so they could continue their evolution.
But then humanity evolved too quickly.
No, wait, too quickly. Fast forward to about 3,400 BC, after the Tower of Babel incident. Humanity, with a little help from Anu's rebellious grandson Marduk, was advancing at a frightening pace.
And the Nibiruan Council got scared.
They feared we would develop technology far beyond our spiritual maturity. They'd seen it happen before with Tiamat, and they believed it would lead to our self-destruction.
So what'd they do?
They hit the brakes. They performed a massive genetic modification on humanity.
Wow.
They took our original 12-strand DNA and essentially unplugged most of it. They separated the strands and put energetic blocks in our astral bodies to slow down our psychic and technological growth. They forced us into a state of spiritual infancy.
This all ties back to the family drama on Nibiru, doesn't it? It wasn't a unified leadership.
Not even close. It was intense. A constant rivalry between the two sons, Enlil, the pure-blood Pleaidian heir, and Enki, the half-reptilian geneticist.
And then there's Marduk, Enki's son. He's the main antagonist in all of this.
He is the ultimate antagonist, always scheming to take control of Earth and really the whole galaxy.
And according to Anu, he's responsible for the Great Flood.
Directly responsible, this wasn't a natural disaster. It was an act of war, around 11,000 BC.
So how did he do it? The sources mention an atmospheric canopy.
Yes, a 3-mile thick layer of moisture in the upper atmosphere that kept the whole planet warm and tropical. It was held in place by giant crystals.
And Marduk destroyed it.
He used a laser beam from the Great Pyramid in Egypt to shatter those crystals. The canopy collapsed, causing 40 days of catastrophic rain and sinking Atlantis in the process.
But someone survived. The story of Noah.
Yes, but with a twist. Anu reveals that it was Enki who secretly warned his son Noah, or Nu, and gave him a submarine to escape in. It was a direct violation of the council's orders.
A huge betrayal.
And Marduk's power grab didn't stop there. After a nuclear attack in 2024 BC failed to stop him, he finally took control of Earth.
And he started changing the culture.
Radically. He dismantled the goddess-worshipping societies, lowered the status of women, and established the early churches.
To promote a single god.
Himself. The goal was to establish himself as one true god and rule humanity through fear.
It's an incredible story of manipulation. But there's a final twist about Marduk, isn't there?
This is the part that changes everything. Anu reveals that Marduk, whose higher self is named Satan, consciously agreed to play this role.
He volunteered to be the villain.
Yes, to ensure that there was enough negativity and conflict on Earth for humanity to have something to push against, overcome, to make the polarity integration game actually work.
That's a whole other level of thinking.
Yep.
Anu says it's harder to play the villain than the hero.
He does. It requires more spiritual sacrifice.
So what does all this mean for us right now?
The sources say we're at the end of the game. Earth is approaching the finish line. Humanity, the Earth's Syrians, are the rightful heirs, and the task now is to recode our DNA, to reclaim our full 12-strand power.
And how do we stop Marduk or Satan?
Not with a fight, not with force.
Yeah.
According to Anir, we stop him by integrating our own dark side, by completing the polarity integration within ourselves. That's the final move of the game.
So to sum this all up,
Yeah.
Earth is a reformed planetary ruin from a galactic war.
Check.
Humanity was created and then intentionally held back for a specific spiritual purpose. And our most ancient myths, Eden, the Flood, Babel, are actually distorted accounts of galactic politics and genetic engineering.
That's the narrative. It completely reframes everything we think we know about where we come from.
So that leaves us with a final thought for you to consider.
If these foundational stories were really about managing advanced technology and transferring souls, what other truths might be hidden in the ancient texts we dismiss as just myth? According to this source, our true history is literally written into our DNA.
And we may have only just begun to read it.
We've only scratched the surface.
A truly mind-bending place to leave it. Thank you for joining us on this incredibly intense deep dive. We appreciate you coming along with us into these challenging narratives. Until next time.